All right, YouTube, what it is, we back at it with another one. Today we're going to be reacting to a video by Imperial. Um, it is the most famous killing in history. Comment down below, real quick. I'm gonna give you a little second. What do you think the most famous killing in history was? Give you a little second. Give you a little second. This one don't expose too much. I know what this is about, but I want to see your guesses. I only got 8 subscribers, so maybe 2 or 3 people might comment. We'll see. Oh, that's what I did. All right, I'm over here messing stuff up.
It's the 15th of March, 44 BC, in Rome.
Okay, Rome.
The most powerful man in
Caesar.
the Roman Republic, the dictator Julius Caesar, walks through the doors of the Curia of Pompey, the temporary gathering point for the Roman Senate's meetings. The usual venue, the Roman Forum, a kilometre to the southeast, is undergoing renovations to build a new Senate house in Caesar's name, and is unavailable. The Curia, meaning meeting place in Latin, is located at the eastern point of a large open courtyard known as the Portico of Pompey.
Hey, that looks nice.
Compared to the Forum, it's rather secluded. It has no direct access to the side streets of Rome, and the only exits lead directly onto the Portico. Today, this area is occupied by a large group of armed gladiators, who are loitering near the Curia entrance, trying to stay inconspicuous. Inside the Curia, senators are nervously milling about. They watch as Caesar takes a seat on his golden ceremonial chair at the front of the room. Caesar's right-hand man and closest ally, his co-consul Mark Antony, who had been with him before he entered, is nowhere
Mark
to be seen.
Antony, that sounds familiar.
Unbeknownst to him, Antony is nearby, just outside, but he's being distracted by another senator. Caesar is alone. Across the room, a man rises from the benches and starts walking towards him.
Damn, was it really that simple to put Caesar down? I thought there was some discreet behind the back stab type shit or poison drink. I don't really know what happened to Caesar. I guess we'll find out.
But first, this video is sponsored by Odoo. This is a toga, by the way. I'm doing this in a toga. I'm committing to the bit. The all-in-one management software that provides entrepreneurs with more than 45 applications to simplify the day-to-day management of their business. I know it's not very historically accurate,
if you want
to
simplify the day
to understand Caesar's death, we have to understand
apps on Odoo.
how he got here. In the eyes of Rome's political elite, Caesar had grown too powerful. Over the course of an almost 40-year career, he reached Rome's highest public office,
the consul.
He conquered all of modern-day France and Belgium and parts of Switzerland, Germany, and the Netherlands.
Wow.
By all accounts, he was a military genius.
Hey, the next video I want to react to is how Caesar amassed all this stuff.
Charismatic.
For people to call him too powerful.
His armies, comprised of Roman legions, became loyal to him and only him.
Didn't he have his own
victories with them
currency or
made
something?
him fabulously wealthy. Finally, he had a habit of pandering to the masses, opposing unpopular policies and presenting himself as a man of the people. He became very popular. Perhaps too popular.
A man of the people, and the people turned on him.
9 BC, fearing Caesar was becoming larger than Rome, the Senate, alongside his chief rival, Pompey the Great, moved. They attempted to recall him from his campaign in Gaul and strip him of his military command, a command which gave him legal immunity under Roman law. Sensing that his enemies wished to prosecute him and curb his power on his return to the city, Caesar made a fateful decision. With a legion of soldiers in tow, he crossed the Rubicon River in northern Italy. The river marked the border between the Roman heartland and its other provinces, and by Roman law, all returning generals had to disband their armies and lay down their arms before crossing it, as to avoid internal conflicts. By deliberately ignoring this, Caesar started a civil war, one that would last 4 years and span the entire republic. In
Damn,
March
that
of 45
caused the
BC,
Civil War?
he would win that civil war, having defeated Pompey the Great, the only man that could rival him in influence and wealth.
Wow.
This made him
Did he
the
kill him?
undisputed most powerful man in Rome. The Senate, an institution that once sought to reduce his power and influence, elected him to the consulship a further 3 times. And finally, in February of 44 BC, granted him the title of dictator for life.
Dictator for life
For a time,
sounds crazy. To be a dictator for life after 40 years, like, I mean, you only got a few more years left, but the fact that he's a dictator for life is crazy. Hold up, let me fix something real quick. Something don't seem right. It's this right here. All right, boom, I fixed it, I think.
tyrannical,
Yeah.
cruel kings. When the
Dictator
last
for
monarch,
life is
Tarquin
crazy.
the Proud, was overthrown around 509 BC, the Roman people, particularly the conservative aristocracy that would end up forming most of the Senate, vowed that no king should rule Rome again. It now seemed that Caesar fancied himself a king. He began wearing opulent royal garbs and constructing statues of himself in public. His allies called for extravagant celebrations in his honor and proposed and later succeeded in changing the month of Quintilis, the month he was born, to Julius. He installed in the Senate
July.
a golden chair
Wow.
designed specifically for him, the chair upon which he sits today. Caesar had grown too powerful, and he was flaunting it.
Yeah.
He threatened the continued existence of the Republic. If defeating him on the battlefield was impossible, his foes would have to find another way to bring him down.
Now, the thing about power is that everybody wants it. Everybody wants to be powerful. So when everybody wants to be powerful, you start to have people say, oh, that person's too powerful because there's no power for us. He convinces the masses that, oh, this guy's no good. We should all separate his power amongst ours. Some weird... I'm good where I'm at.
The men who conspired to kill Caesar, a group of about 60, are diverse in their backgrounds. A few are former allies who felt their loyalty to him had not been sufficiently rewarded. Some are remnants of the Pompeian faction, the group that fought Caesar during the Civil War under Pompey the Great, a group he, perhaps foolishly, pardoned.
See, that's probably the people who killed him right there. The Pompeians. Because the group 1 is former allies. The group 2 is the people that he just beat in war and took their leader, who they were loyal to. And that's probably who did it.
A handful simply
Who
oppose
knows?
his accumulation of power
Somebody knows.
out of principle, fearing he would destroy the state's republican values. Most, however, are members of the conservative aristocracy, who profit greatly from Rome's republican form of government as they monopolize the Senate and thus oppose Caesar's centralization of power.
Okay, conservative.
These men have been meeting in secret for months to hatch a plan to kill him. They considered assassinating him in public on a street in Rome known as the Via Sacra. This was probably abandoned because the venue was too public. Any ally of Caesar's, if they were nearby, could simply intervene. Caesar had no bodyguards on payroll while in the city, but he was known to surround himself with some particularly intimidating friends to compensate. Another questionable idea was flinging him from a bridge and placing a number of armed men below it to ensure the
Yo,
fall.
they're really plotting to murder this man, like plotting, planning multiple different ways. Oh, let's kill him this way. No, that way won't work because he's around. Well, let's throw him over a bridge. Oh, well, that.
Be fatal. They also
And if he was so beloved, why would his power, the power that he amassed and built for the ones around him, why would that make them want to kill him? That don't even make sense. That's like killing the golden goose and then mad because you don't have no more golden eggs.
considered striking while he was at a gladiator show, as they could hide the assassins in plain sight, posing as gladiators. Ultimately, though, a Senate session on the 15th of March was selected to be the best time to strike. Soon after this date, Caesar would be outside of the city on a military campaign to defeat the Dacians and the Parthian Empire to Rome's east, making it far more difficult for them to reach him and allowing him to accumulate even more glory, prestige, and power. Choosing a Senate meeting made sense, too. All those present were sure to be unarmed, as it was generally prohibited to bring weapons into the Senate House, making resistance unlikely. Most of the Senate were indeed loyal to Caesar, but even his closest allies would think twice to spring to his defense when faced with a blade. Additionally, in a closed Senate meeting, Caesar could be dealt with more subtly, away from the prying eyes and ears of the public and Caesar's informal protection. So, on the day of the 15th, daggers are secretly brought into the Curia of Pompey in wooden boxes
They
usually
brought
used to carry
multiple
writing tablets
daggers.
for record keeping. Before Caesar's arrival, members of the conspiracy retrieve the blades and conceal them underneath their togas. Outside the building, the conspirators deploy a group of armed gladiators to cover the Curia's exits, ensuring that Caesar won't get far should he try to escape. They are owned by the senator Decimus Brutus, a man that Caesar considers to be a close friend and ally, a man named second in his will, a man that Caesar trusts. Caesar would not question the presence of the gladiators, knowing them to be Decimus's. Finally, when Caesar arrives with his co-consul Mark Antony, a senator by the name of Gaius Trebonius pulls him aside and begins to speak with him. Antony is a big, brawny man, and his loyalty to Caesar is without question. The conspiracy thought it wise to take him out of the equation and ensure he did not intervene in Caesar's defense. Though the conspirators originally considered murdering the both of them together, they thought the optics of killing Caesar alone would be better. It would appear like he just...
Yo, why kill Mark Antony? What the hell he do? He don't got no damn power. He just his right hand man. he said fucking kill them both. We're tired of Caesar shit. We're tired of his wild parties. What could it have really been, though?
Not an arbitrary massacre. The stage is now set.
Did Brutus want Caesar's power for himself and convince everybody else that he's gotten too powerful?
Remains is for the signal to be given. That signal is Senator Tillius Cimber.
And then who was the first person to say, oh yeah, Caesar's gotten too powerful, let's kill him? And then everybody's like, yeah, you're right. Anybody else agree with that? And then everybody's like, shit, well, if y'all agree, let's kill him.
As he marches towards the dictator, he exclaims loudly that Caesar should pardon his brother and return him from exile. Suddenly, dozens of other senators rise from their seats, and they too start approaching Caesar, shouting words of support for Cimber's request. The senators circle him like sharks in the water, growing ever closer, until Cimber thrusts out his fist and tears Caesar's toga down, revealing the tunic underneath. Startled, Caesar recoils and shouts. Moments later, the senator Publius Casca...
Like, at what moment did he realize something's off? Like, once the dude pulled his shit, as soon as the first nigga started walking up to me, I would be like, hey, security! I got all this power. Yo, you not finna do this. Sit your ass down, nigga. Security.
Strikes the first blow from behind
Stabbed
with a
him.
dagger thrust that grazes Caesar's shoulder.
He
He
missed
rises in shock, twirls around, and allegedly stabs Casca with a pen in return.
Oh, Caesar like that. Missed him. Turned around, stabbed him. With the pen. Let's see.
But alas, the pen is not mightier than the sword.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
In seconds, Caesar becomes enveloped by a shroud of togas.
Oh, they are on him. Yo. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people stabbing him. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people. 5 people stabbing him. 8 people standing around to block anybody from coming in. So, damn. That's like 13 people jumping on Caesar. Even if Mark Antony was right there, they would have overwhelmed Mark.
Collapses under a hail of daggers. 2 Caesar loyalists try to break through to defend him, but they are pushed back. Marcus Brutus, a leading conspirator and former Pompeian, stabs Caesar in the groin amid the frenzy. A truly humiliating blow. After inflicting 23 stab wounds,
Bro stabbed him in the groin. That's like the private area. One final blow. Bow! And I figured, just like I figured Brutus, who amassed some type of stature in Caesar's council, was a Pompeian. One of the people that went to war with Caesar's people. Caesar conquered them and brought them in and brought them right next to his surroundings, right next to him.
a crowd of assassins stand back and admire their work. The would-be king, the tyrant, is dead.
Why a
In a
tyrant?
twist of irony, Caesar would bleed out beneath a statue of his former Civil War rival, Pompey the Great.
He had a statue of his former rival, Pompey, of the Pompeians, and he died right in front of the statue. That's symbolic.
Statue he had refused to tear down. Caesar should have seen it coming. According to classical sources, a month before his demise in February of 44 BC,
Okay.
he visited a
He
fortune
died
teller
March
by the name
15th.
of Spurinna. He brought to her an animal to be sacrificed, and it is said that on the altar she could not find its heart in its chest cavity. Seeing this as a bad omen, she warned Caesar his life was in danger. The next day, when he
So Caesar brings a wait. Let him finish.
returned
Let him
again
finish.
with a different sacrifice, she was unable to find part of its liver.
So Caesar's bringing these animals to sacrifice, and they're not having hearts, they're not having livers, and that's a sign of a bad omen. Shit. First off, how you bringing an animal to me to sacrifice? I would think sacrifice is a living, got to be alive. What are you sacrificing, something dead? And then if it's living, how's it living without a heart? How's it living without a liver? As like sheep and cattle and stuff that you raise and that you keep near, without clear signs of being cut or whatever.
From the entrails of the animal, she divined that Caesar would come to great harm on the Ides of March, otherwise
Damn,
known
she
as the
told
15th,
him.
the midpoint of the month. But that
The
wasn't
Ides
all.
of March.
The Roman historian Plutarch tells us that on the day before the 15th, Caesar and a fellow senator began discussing the best way to die. To which Caesar responded, quote, "A death which is unexpected." Ominously, later that
got
evening,
it.
when he and his wife Calpurnia were asleep, the windows and doors of their bedchamber flew open simultaneously,
Damn.
rousing Caesar from his slumber.
If that's not
His
a
wife
warning,
was yet asleep.
if that's not a warning, I don't know what is. The universe, the angels, the spirits, whoever is trying to warn this man to leave, like that should have spooked you enough to be like, "All right, I'm calling everything off." Especially after the lady told you you're gonna die in the Ides of March. That's the middle of March, March 15th. And then the day before, you're sitting there talking about what's the best way to die.
Yet she tossed and turned, muttering something under her breath. The next morning, upon waking up, she begged Caesar not to attend the Senate meeting, for she had dreamt their house had collapsed and seen visions of her holding Caesar's bloodied, lifeless corpse.
Now, that's not a sign, that's not a vision, that's a premonition of what is to come. Premonition. Even, I feel like even him speaking certain things into existence, like what's the best way to die, an unexpected death. Like, there's a lot of stuff that we have yet to understand about the full human capabilities, like our capacity and ability to do things, supernatural, natural, unnatural, like magic, manifest things, speak. Like we got
was
power
by
we
Roman
don't yet
standards
know about.
not particularly superstitious, but the mounting signs were enough to put even him at unease. To be sure, he summoned his own seers and had them conduct sacrificial rituals. All of them yielded bad omens. That was enough for him to postpone the Senate meeting, resolving not to attend. So why in the end did he end up
Yeah.
going? Well, his old friend, Decimus Brutus, convinced him on the morning of the Senate meeting to ignore the omens and attend anyway. He appealed to Caesar's ego. Would it not appear improper and above all ridiculous or cowardly if Caesar did not show his face at...
So Brutus used reverse psychology on him to get him to go and ignore all the bad omens and signs up until that point by calling him cowardly. Nah, nigga, I'ma live. Y'all tripping. Call me a coward if you want. I'm gonna be a living coward. I done got 6 bad omens. My wife had a premonition. The doors done busted open. I got every sign saying not go, and I'm gonna listen to a Pompeian who I just took over in war. Like I took him from his place and brought him here. From his people.
he summoned merely on the grounds of superstition. What would that sort of behavior do to his reputation? So he went, and on his way to the Curia of Pompey, he was stopped by a man on the street. The man handed him a scroll and urged him to read it immediately, claiming it concerned him. Reports tell us that this scroll supposedly contained details of the plot against him. For one reason or another, Caesar did not read it.
Oh my
and walked
God.
directly into the lion's den. Caesar's death would lead to...
Hey, we be asking for signs. God, send me a sign. Please send me a sign. This, that. The nigga send you a sign and you don't even consider it. You just walk right past it. Blind. Out here blind.
power vacuum and civil war that determined the fate of the Republic. Caesar's adoptive son, Octavian, and his former consul, Mark Antony, would form an alliance with one of Caesar's most trusted generals, Marcus Lepidus. Together, they would hunt down the men that murdered Caesar and crush all who opposed their rule, leading ultimately to the fall of the Republic and the rise of a hereditary monarchy under the Roman Empire. Octavian would become emperor, and he would not make his father's mistakes. Caesar pardoned many of his enemies, even promoted them and gave them honors.
That's where you mess up. You sit here pardoning and promoting people that oppose you, real live enemies. Like you done killed these people's family in war, brothers in war. Then took their women probably, gave them to your soldiers. And
Others would have
you're
destroyed
giving
every
them high position in your hierarchy. Rubbing shoulders with these niggas.
of Pompey, Caesar elected to keep his statues up as a show of grace. His mercy might have killed him, and it might mean that the last thing that Caesar ever saw while he was dying in a pool of his own blood was a statue of Pompey staring down at him mockingly. Caesar treated his foes too kindly and flaunted his power too brazenly, making him a man that people hated, not necessarily a man that they feared. In the words of the historian John Balston, if an authoritarian government was to be established successfully in the Republic's place, it must not be, like Caesar's, an inconsiderate, careless and frank authoritarianism. It must wear a Republican mask, however false.
That's crazy. So Caesar's main problem was keeping his friends close and keeping his enemies closer. Promoting his enemies, surrounding himself with enemies. Like you had one person, Mark Antony, right by your side. You know, you have maybe 2 supporters in there that was willing to try to help you when you were injured, but that was 13 people surrounding him. 5 people stabbing, 8 people keeping other people away. And then they said they even had some of the guards outside lined up in the courtyard to prevent him from getting away. So that damn near everybody on his around him plotting to kill him. And then the main one distracted, the only person you had to really defend you and fight for you, Brutus. Mark, hey, can I talk to you real quick about something? It'll be real quick, I promise. Whole time, bro getting in it, poked up like he in a damn prison cell. Plenty lesson to learn in this one. Imperial got some gas. I like the animations. This was the most famous killing in history. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Help push me through that algorithm, y'all. Let's get.